So we have Brian Preston on the More Than Money podcast. Now, Brian has a brand new, well, soon to be released book called Millionaire Mission. Brian, when's the release date?
May 28th. So we are within, weeks of this coming out. So I'm super excited, a little nervous. So I really do hope people will jump in and buy this because the intention is pure. And I really did. I hope that, when I wrote this, the goal was people will read it, listen to it, and be like, I can't believe he gave all that away for that. I really did want to give away a 10 times more than you paid for it type of mentality so that it could keep on with the tradition of the abundance cycle that's kind of gotten me here to this point that we are right now.
I love it. I'm going to encourage all listeners to go and get that book. I actually reached out to our More Than Money Facebook group. And by the way, if you, the listener, are not a part of that More Than Money Facebook group, you need to be. It's an amazing group of men and women who are getting financially healthy for the sake of advancing God's kingdom. And I will do things like let them know, hey, I have an interview with Brian Preston coming up. And so if you are a big fan of his stuff like I am, why don't you send me a question that I can ask him? And so, Brian, I got a number of different questions. We can't go through all of them. I picked out three and let you answer them. So I know our audience is really excited that you're going to do this. So the first question came from John Varner. Now, John's been a very active More Than Money Facebook group member. John, I'm really appreciated for how involved you are in the group. He wrote this. He said, I really want to know how his faith has impacted how he approaches money and helps others approach money. I like that question.
Yeah, I will tell you, it's definitely a big part of what we do here at both Abound Wealth and the Money Guy Show. I'll tell you, I also have the best business partner in the world. Bo is an incredible amplifier when it comes to not only his knowledge, his energy, but also even when it comes to faith. I think he's incredible. And for me, where I think the biggest for what faith has done for me is just kind of having this optimism to just hold on loosely. And because money is such a unique thing, is that it has all these taboos in society. It can also become an idol. It has all these things. So what I like to do is try to teach people how to use money as the tool that it is, not to turn it into an idol, and how to kind of bear fruits. That's why, if you notice, so much in our show has where we talk about the abundance cycle, where we talk about knowing what money can and cannot do for you. Because if you just say, like, I wish I had $3 million, $3 million is going to feel so much more empty than you realize if you don't have a why or purpose. So if you can kind of know who you are, what you value, and what the journey is for you, I think you'll be in a better place. And for me, my faith has helped me because in a lot of ways, we have to always kind of have wisdom and guidance for our listeners, even in the scariest times. So I think the power of knowing that we're not really in control of anything, that this is all kind of, things that we work on, but we're all here for much bigger things, has kind of given me perspective to kind of to bring it into focus, so that when you get overwhelmed with all the worldly or life stuff, you can kind of take a step back. You can pray. I know that, and I even share, like on step 4, where I talk about emergency reserves and the access to cash trap. I've had desperate times in my life where when you're in those times, your prayer just gets a little bit closer, it feels like, because yes, you have a prayer life, but it also, when you're in those desperate times, sometimes it's better to have even amp that up even more. And then I have found just being generous. That's when I talk about Bo being an amplifier, that being generous with not only your talents, but also with your money, so that things that you value and are important to you, those are the first fruits type of things that I think a lot of people, they get caught up in this world of money, and sometimes they lose focus on. And I think when people find out how much you give, they're kind of shocked when they realize. But I also love, that's the salt part, where you get to show that you process the world a little differently than the worldly life that kind of surrounds us, because we live in a society where it tells you consumption, consumption, consumption. So when you put generosity or this abundance cycle that we've kind of coined, I think people can tell you're living life a little differently.
Yeah.
And for us, since we don't do a lot of religion, we don't do politics on our content. I do think in its own way, though, people can tell we're different by that salt of living a life with this abundance mentality, that people go, something's different about those guys, and hopefully that shows up in the fruit of what we're creating.
Yeah, absolutely. I certainly think it does. John Matlock, who is not only a More Than Money Facebook group member, but he's also a prolific writer on ChristianMoneySolutions.com. He's a big fan of you, Brian, and so I'm going to
Man,
read. Hit what's that?
that makes me tremendously happy.
I'm going to read his comment verbatim and then
Okay.
get to his question. He said, Brian Preston, and gave a bunch of exclamation points there. He said, he and Bo are how I found out about fee only financial planning and are probably the reason I'm a financial planner today. I'm just going to pause there. I mean, that's a powerful statement there, Brian, that John's saying you're the reason why he's doing what he's doing. Needless to say, he goes on, I'm a big fan. So my question is, I would like to know how he encourages generosity with his clients, what kinds of advanced giving strategies he utilizes. He said like DAFs and etc. And who should use those kinds of giving strategies. I know there's a lot in that question, so you can choose whatever part you want to respond to. But I had to get John's question in there just because, you're the reason why he does what he does right now.
Yeah, I think about, one of the things, I get a lot of questions about what's next, or what are you doing this for? And I've shared, like, I had a breakfast this morning with one of our primary advisors, and he was sharing, because they relocated to join our team. So they moved from another part of the country. I don't want to give too many details because you can go pull up our entire team on our website. But he made my day, because he shared with me that his wife is happy they moved. They're more involved with their church than they've ever been, because they found a community. Their kids are happy. And for me, I was like, man, that is what this is all about. Is this, awesome stuff like this happening. And so for clients, because that's really, John's asking about those advanced strategies, whether it's donor advised funds, qualified charitable distributions. That's what all those acronyms stood for. We do use all those things. And what's so interesting is that our clients come from all walks of life, that we're in pretty much all the states of the country, as well as we approach people differently. And what we try to do is, because you can talk about generosity, you can talk about your why, but you talk about the taxes and the structure. And I'm really hopeful that they realize, once again, it's coming back to, and I sound like an echo of the same thing, money's just a tool. So when people, if anybody is, I feel like, holding on too tight, we kind of, talk to them about that, to try to encourage, hey, could you be a little more generous in this area? Or is there a strategy that allows you to do this? Are there organizations, are there charities, or things that you really want to lean into and use your blessings to kind of pay it forward? So that's how we have approached it. Is it's definitely part of our process. I mean, if you saw all the charitable, the QCDs, as he called it, we do for clients, and then we have to follow up again to make sure the accountants actually got it on
Right.
the tax return right. As well as, I love, because one of the greatest things that I love is when a client actually has appreciated holdings, and you get to have those conversations. Is, what would be a good decision is if you gave a good chunk of this to charity, so that your organization gets the tax savings, you get the tax deduction, and you never pay income taxes on all those gains. I mean, it is a superpower to be able to say, hey, let's nudge that heart to be a little more charitable, a little more open. I like that. I mean, I feel like it kind of aligns back to that abundance cycle, and to become a little more selfless as
Yeah.
well, because that's really the heart of what John's question is. And I think a lot of that whole, grace redemption, thing that we're all doing. If you're a believer, I think it leans into the heart and spirit of that in a lot of ways.
That's good. We have one more question from Justin Hunter. So Justin wrote, "What factors should individuals in the 30s weigh when deciding about after giving 10% between paying down a low interest rate mortgage and allocating extra funds towards investing for the future?"
Yeah, Justin, this is one, I don't know if you've had him on. Andy Hill is somebody I've been on his show, but I also hang out with him on wherever at these content conferences. And Andy paid off his mortgage in his 30s, and I still pick on him about this because I'm very much about paying off your low interest debt. It's on the financial order of operations at step 9. My biggest thing though is just make sure you do it after the get wealthy part, because there's two things I talk about in the journey. It's the get wealthy behaviors and there's stay wealthy behaviors. Paying off a mortgage less than 5% while you're under 45 years of age better be happening after you've gotten wealthy, because we want to ensure that you actually are, paying it forward, but then also saving and investing for the future. And I find that sometimes people get so excited that they've paid off maybe a student loan or high interest credit card debt that they start rolling right into paying off their mortgage to become completely debt free, which is noble. But what if you have a 4% or 3.5% mortgage and you didn't fund your Roth IRA? Is that the right time to pay it off? I always say for somebody who's in the 30s, please make sure that you've actually are saving and investing 25% of the future. And then those dollars above and beyond that, as I say, step 9 of the financial order of operations, then you can pay off that low interest mortgage. For somebody like me, I'm in my 50s now. So paying off a low interest mortgage is much easier to justify because my money just doesn't have the same potential to grow. Every dollar that I invest, really the best it can hope to become is $3. But for that 30-year-old, every dollar that comes into their control has the potential to become $23. For every dollar for a 20-year-old, it's $88. So you can quickly see that wasting time is more expensive than wasting money in a lot of ways. So that's why I just want to make sure that Justin knows what every dollar has the potential to become so that he can allocate in the right way. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have to do it, because this is, like I said, Andy Hill and others I've had conversations. I'm still all about, for my debt crusaders, just make sure that you do it at the right time or place so that you still get those get wealthy strategies and behaviors to let your money start working for you.
You see, More Than Money listeners, I'm not completely crazy when I'm telling you to set aside 15% for retirement. I mean, he's telling you 25. So maybe I need to be a little bit more conservative. So I get complaints that it's 15%.
Can I clarify that
Yeah.
though?
Yeah.
Can I clarify that one thing though,
Yeah,
Art,
go
though?
ahead.
When I say 25%, something that I need, especially younger listeners, to hear is that you get to include your employer portion on that as long as your household income is less than 200,000. So if you think about it, you work for a generous company that gives you 8% compensation through profit sharing, through employer match. And then if you're doing your 15%, that's 23% right there. So I bet we're a lot closer than you realize. And that's something I clarify in Millionaire Mission, is that I do want people, it's just, but in general, I talk about in 25% counting your employer and your contribution, especially if you're below $200,000 of household income. It's a lot simpler. It's not easy. It's simpler than people realize.
Well, Brian, I'm incredibly grateful that you came.
I'm incredibly grateful that you
came on today's podcast, and tell them one more time. So it's Millionaire Mission. Where can they buy the book? Where can they get it's for pre-sale right now. So where do you want them to go, and how can they find out more about you?
You should be able to buy this book about anywhere that books are sold. So you can go to the big, online shopping experiences. But if you want to kind of see them all in one place, if you can go to moneyguy.com/millionaire mission, we actually have all of the providers lined up. And what I like, and this is a financial mutant shopping tip, you can actually go shop to see which one is the cheapest. Because what I've been amazed by is that they're all offering different discounts and they change from time to time. But if you really want to be a financial mutant, get in there, see where the best deal is. It also is going to be on Audible if you're a big audiobook fan. So get in there. It is coming out May 28th. I'd love for your audience to get in there because we're trying to make an impact. We're trying to pre-orders mean a lot because we want to show momentum. I don't have a big corporation behind us. There's nobody really pushing this outside of just us boots on the ground trying to share the good message, the good news, so that hopefully we can create a movement and really start helping people understand, hey, it's important to know what to do with every dollar so that your money can speak for you. Because it really is amazing to me getting in this sentimental 50s plus stage that I'm in, how look and trying to be purposeful and having meaning for every day and owning your time, but also every dollar that comes in your control. What you do matters. So just let it speak for you. And I appreciate everybody who does buy the Millionaire Mission.
Once again, the book is called Millionaire Mission, a 9-step system to level up your finances and build wealth. Be sure to go get that book. I'm really excited about it. Brian, thank you so much for joining us. We're fans, and love to have you on the podcast sometime in the future.
All right, thank you so much. This has been a blast. Had a great time, and I appreciate everybody going on this mission with us.